In math, we have been learning about using unit cubes and the formula volume equals length times width times height to find the volume of a rectangular prism. Volume is an amount of space a three-dimensional figure occupies. Today, we are going to practice creating rectangular prisms given certain dimensions and volumes.
All right, class, are y'all ready to build our first prism? Yes. Okay, but when you build your prism using your unit cubes, I am going to give you certain criteria that you must follow. Are you ready to build our first one? Yes. All right, these are our dimensions. The length has to be 3. The width has to be 4. And the height needs to be 2. All right, let's build it, guys. Will you have in your base?
24.
In your bottom base?
12.
Very good, because if your length is 3 and your width is 4, 3 times 4 means the area of the base will be
12.
Very good. How many layers will you have?
2.
How did you know that?
Because the height is 2.
Very good. Kate, do you have yours?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's see Kate. Does she have a length of 4, a width of 3,
Yes.
and a height of 2? So what is the total volume?
24.
Very good, because you could, who can give me 2 ways that you know the volume is 24 cubic units? Raise your hand. All right, Brody, what is one way you know that the volume is 24 cubic units?
3 times 4 times 3.
Very good. Is there another way you can determine the volume?
You can count all the cubes here.
Perfect, Kate. Very good job. All right, guys. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of giving you specific dimensions, I'm just going to give you a total volume. So now I'm going to ask you to build a prism that has a total volume of, let's do 12 cubic units. Will everyone in here have the same exact prism?
No.
That's okay. Why will everyone not have the same prism? Gage?
Because somebody might build it in a different way.
Because their dimensions may be different, but that doesn't mean that the volume will not be 12 cubic units. Good, Gage. Oh, Xander has one. Yeah. Oh, Xander, tell me what you just said.
It was very easy. All you had to do was split it in half.
Because what was the volume of your first prism?
24.
So he knew he just could split it in half. Very good thinking, Xander. While y'all are finishing up, I'm going to have Xander go ahead and tell me his dimensions of his prism. So what is the length of your prism?
2.
2. Okay. What's the width?
3.
Okay. And then what dimension do I need next?
The height.
Which is?
2.
All right, 2 times 3 is?
6.
And 6 times 2 gives me a volume of 12 cubic units.
This one has been the simplest to do.
Very good. Does anybody have a different prism? All right, Addie.
The width is 3.
The length, start off with the length is 3. Okay.
The width is 2.
Okay.
And then the height is 2.
All right. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 2 gives us?
12.
Now, hers is correct, but they're different, and that's okay as long as it has a volume of 12 cubic units. All right, Emily, do you have a different prism?
Yes.
What do you have?
I have 3 as the length,
Okay.
4 as the width,
Okay.
and 1 as the height.
All right. Now, hers, I see some different numbers than we have in our first and second prism. Does it work?
Yes.
Yes. 3 times 4 is?
12.
And 12 times 1 is?
12.
Very good, Emily. Does anybody have a different prism with a volume of 12 cubic units? All right, let's go Jackson.
3 as the length,
Okay.
1 as the width,
Okay.
and 4 as the height.
Does that work? Is it a different prism than the first 3?
Yes.
All right, very good. Does anybody have another one, Brody?
My length is 12.
Okay.
My height or width is 1.
Okay.
And my height is 1.
Does his work?
Yes.
Yes, he does. He does. All right, give me another one, Isaiah.
The length is 1.
Okay.
The width is 1.
Okay.
And the height is 12.
Very good. That works. That works. All right, Sonica.
My length is 2.
Okay.
My width is 2.
Okay.
Height is 3.
Does Sonica's prism work?
Yes.
Yes, very good, Sonica. That gives us a volume of 12 cubic units. Anybody else? All right, Leah.
My length is 6.
Okay.
My width is 2.
Okay.
And my height is 1.
Does Leia's prism meet our criteria?
Yes.
Very good. Anybody else have a prism? Look at all 8 different prisms that y'all created, but it met our criteria of 12 cubic units. Good job, guys.
These are our math journals, and we keep our work organized in the table of contents.
Sometimes we do charts, and then sometimes we make our own notes.
It's like we're making our own textbook.
We also use our math journal for homework and classwork if we don't understand a question.
The math journal is a big help during math.
This is our math workbook, and we use it during class. We usually tear out the pages and turn them in for a grade.
This is an example for our workbooks.
We usually do iReady during class, math, or reading.
We get 45 minutes each week.
Not only we get 45 minutes, but we get our extra as well.
If you pass the test, then you get to get a sucker out of the bin.
We do a math program called Reflex. In this program, you can do multiplication and division facts.
We have to get at least 3 green lights a week.
Some people have already reached 100%.
Each week we do a DSR and math move.
This is our DSR, and Miss Lucas goes over this with us every week.
This is a spiraling worksheet on lessons that we've already done.
Every Friday we have a test on these questions.
What did you just build?
I built a prism with a length of 4, a width of 2, and a height of 3.
How can you check it?
I can check it because if you multiply 4 units by 2 units, and then multiply that product by 3 units, you would get 24. And if you count it separately, it would be 24 units.
Thank you. What did you just build?
I built a prism with the length of 2, the width of 1, and the height of 4.
How do you know if you did it correct?
Because we should have 8. And if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or you can check by just seeing the width right here has 1 on this side. The length here is 2 unit cubes, and the height goes up 4 unit cubes.
Good job. What did you just build?
I built a prism with the length of 5, the width of 3, and the height of 2.
Is there a way to check it?
Well, if you do 5 times 3, that equals 15. If you do 15 times 2, that equals 30, and I have
How many cubic units?
35.
Good job.
This week, we are doing a new lesson, and I'm looking for somebody to tell me what that lesson is about. Eva, say it a little bit louder. Volume. Okay, on your marker board in front of you, I want everybody to show me that you do know the formula for volume, and write it nice and big on your marker board and turn it around for me to see. What is the volume, or what's the formula for volume?
I wrote a little too big.
DJ in the back. Length times width times height. All right, I'm seeing that everyone looks like they have that. Length times width times height. All right, good job. Now in just a minute, we are going to be looking at some rectangular prisms on the board and determining what is our length, width, and heights. We're going to determine what our lengths, widths, and heights are. We're going to do that by color coding them so that we can look at them individually. Can I get 3 volunteers to be my length, width, and height person? All right, we're gonna go with Nathan. You can be our length. Alyssa can be our height. And Carter, you can do our widths. We have broken our rectangular prism into 2 different 3-dimensional shapes. We're looking at the shaded one. Maylee's going to tell us what is the formula, or our volume formula, length, width, and height. We're looking at each one. Maylee, which one is our length? 4, running left to right. What about our width?
This is our width.
Okay, and what about our height?
4.
Okay, can we fill them in over here, please? 4, 2, 4. What's our unit of measurement, Maylee? Feet. Okay, and what about after we multiply all 3 of these together, what would we call it instead? JJ.
Volume.
It is our volume, it is our formula, yes, but after we multiply all 3 numbers together, we're gonna get a number, and then what is our unit of measurement? Is it just feet? Cubic feet, there you go. We have DeMarcus now. DeMarcus is going to take our length, width, and height, and he's going to find the volume of that shaded rectangular prism. He's going to do that by multiplying all 3 of the numbers together. We have 4 times 4 times 2. How did you get that, DeMarcus? There you go. 4 times 4 is 16. And then 16 times 2. I like how you're going back and reworking it out to double check. 16 times 2 is 32. So we have 32. And for our final answer, somebody tell me with our unit of measurement. Sierra. Cubic what?
Inches.
Okay, if we look up there at our rectangular prism, does it say inches? We have 32 cubic feet. There you go. Good job.
This is a rectangular prism. The length is 5 units, the width is 3 units, and the height is 2 units, and the volume altogether is 30 units.
How did you figure out the volume?
I multiplied my length times width times height.
Okay, what'd you make, Ty Journey?
A rectangular prism.
And how did you find out the volume of your prism?
I multiply the length, width, and the height.
And what did you get for your volume?
35.
Okay, Ty, what'd you make?
I made a rectangular prism. The length is 4, the width is 4, the height is 2. So the equation is 4 times 4 times 2 equals 32.
Good job. Okay, Makai, what did you make?
A rectangular prism.
And what did you do to find the volume?
I found the length, width, and the height. And the height, the length was 5. The width,
You got it. Width.
the width was 3 and the height was 2. So I multiplied 5 times 3 times 2 and I got 30.
In math class, we are studying how to find volume of rectangular prisms. We started learning how to use the formula of volume, length times width times height. Now we are working on finding the volumes of composite figures. This means there is more than one rectangular prism. When you have composite figures, the first step you follow is to break apart the shapes into separate rectangular prisms. In order to find the correct dimensions, you look for a shared side because those lines will have the same dimensions. If there are any missing dimensions and you have to split a side, you just subtract or add what you are given. Once you have all your dimensions for each rectangular prism, you multiply the length, width, and height of each prism. Then you add the products of each prism together in order to get the total volume of the complete figure. When you write the total volume, you have to put the measurement with 3 as an exponent, which means cubed. This just means that you multiplied the measurement unit times itself 3 times.
Let's look at number 7 as an example problem. The first step is to split the 2 prisms. The second step is to find the shared side. The third step is to find the length, width, and height of each prism. The length of the prism 1, is 2 feet. The width of prism 1 is 18 feet. And the height of prism 1 is 12 feet. The length of prism 2 is 5 feet. The width of prism 2 is 18 feet. And the height of prism 2 is 6 feet. The fourth step is to multiply the dimensions of each prism. 2 times 18 equals 36. 36 times 12 is 432. The volume for prism 1 is 432 feet. 5 times 18 equals 90. 90 times 6 equals 540. The volume for prism 2 is 540 feet. The final step is to add the 2 volumes together. 432 feet plus 540 feet equals 972 feet. The volume for this figure is 972 feet.
Cubed.
We are Mrs. Shoemake in Coach Curley's class, and we are having a test tomorrow on measurement conversion. We're going to start studying with a scoop game with customary conversion of measurement.
Thank you. All right, is everyone ready to start?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You may begin. I would like someone to tell me if they learned something by doing their practice and studying this way. Yes?
No.
Raylyn, tell me what you learned.
I realized that it's a lot easier to go back and look at the government and stuff, and it helps you find it out easier.
Okay, great. Anybody else? have something to add to that? Deanna?
It's easier when, like, right before we do tests, it's easier for me to go over it before we do the test so I can understand.
Very good. Okay, everybody gonna study tonight? Yes. All right. Good luck. Y'all did a great job.
So we are going to compare the two decimals using greater than, less than, equal to. Number one, we are going to look at the hundreds, tens, and ones first. We have a 6 in both, so we can cross these two off. We have a 5 in both, and then we have a 3 in both. So then we go to decimals, and then we have a 0 and a 2. So 653 and 2 tenths is greater than 653 and 2 hundredths.
Today we're gonna do 93 times 10 to the 4th power. So 10 to the 4th power is just 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. So 10 times 10 times 10 would be 100 times 10, which is equal to 1,000, just adding a 0. So multiplying by 10 again would be adding another 0, which would make it 10,000. So we can think of it as this. You could do add 4 zeros to the end, or actually multiply it by 10,000. Either way, you would get, let's see, take 93, put 4 zeros behind it. Get 930,000.
I'm making prisms out of these papers, and I'm finding out the volume, and then I'm making them into shapes.
And tell me about some of the requirements of your prisms. Like, are all your prisms the same size?
No, they're not the same size, and you have, so some, like D, it has to be half of another prism, and E, it has to be a third of another prism, so you have to, like, figure out how to make a third of a different prism, or half.
So, show me prism D. Which one of your prisms is prism D?
This.
And what is the volume of that prism?
54 centimeters.
And that's half of what other prism?
B.
And what was the volume of that prism?
108 cubic centimeters.
Good job. And have you finished, you're still working on your prism E, that's a third, right?
Yeah, I'm cutting it.
All right, good job. All right, Bella and Landon, tell me what you two are working on.
We're working on prism E, and he's making that, and we already found the volume, so I'm adding them all together.
So how many prisms did you guys make?
6.
You made 6, and so you're adding all the volumes together because what has to be the composite volume of all your prisms together?
It has to be 1,000 cubic centimeters or less.
1,000 cubic centimeters or less. Very good. And how are you finding volume?
We're multiplying like 10 times height.
Very good. And when you're finding the composite volume, like once you find the volume of this prism and the volume of this prism, and you're doing the composite volume and putting all those volumes together, what are you doing to put them all together? You're adding them all together. Good job.